And one of the members on that trip is with me right now, someone who was a student of mine back then and was part of the group that applied to be part of the team. Let's welcome Justin Perry to our discussion. Justin, how are you?
What's up, bro? Thank you for having me, Professor Rucker. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm happy to have you on board. Feel free to call me Bob. You know I like that better. Very quickly, tell us when you graduated and what have you done since?
I graduated in spring 2009 with a broadcast journalism degree with a minor in political science of all things. Since graduation, I've been working harder than hard working. I've had a few stops, Pac-12, NBC, the area, King TV 11, Yahoo Sports, and I'm now at Sports Illustrated.
Very good. And you're down in Los Angeles?
Yes, sir. I'm in LA, Century City.
Very good. And very quickly for the students who love sports reporting, tell them very quickly about your Rio trip to the Olympics.
2016, I had the distinct blessing to cover the Rio Olympics. It was 31 days of hell, 15 to 18-hour shifts a day, covering every single sport. So that was table tennis, basketball, track and field, all the swimming, like you name it, in an edit suite, getting content out back to the States and letting everybody know the storylines, the fun things that were happening in the Olympic Park, the fun that all the athletes were having in Olympic Village, and just, the basic gold medal, silver medal, all that kind of stuff.
Very cool. That's the envy of a lot of people wanting to do sports. Back to our topic at hand, the lessons learned from your trip in 2009 when you went to the inauguration by way of the landmarks of the civil rights movement. Can you think about that now for us and put into words what that trip meant to you then? Then we'll talk about how it applies to now.
At the time, I felt like a trailblazer. The group of us students from Little San Jose State made so many big waves. I mean, we learned invaluable lessons. I had some indelible marks left on my heart from the experiences on that trip, from the people we talked to. I mean, specifically Franklin McCain. That was one of the greatest moments of my journalistic career, was having the chance to speak with him. I wouldn't even call it an interview. It was more like a conversation that we just happened to have on tape. The life gems that he gave, what he taught us, what we didn't know, because he clearly lived through the civil rights movement. That trip was a lot. That trip was fun, but it was some major reality checks. We got some real gut punches along the way about how America has treated its citizens, specifically its Black citizens, over the years.
And I remember when you were selected, Dr. Cheers and I were talking about the students who were going. And when we got to your name, he was very gung-ho. I loved the idea. We needed someone who was African-American male as a student to be on the trip. We were just worried if you would be comfortable in it. And it looked like you just blossomed as that trip went on. Is that correct? Is that how it felt for you?
It did. I mean, you never know. I'm cool with baptism by fire. So I knew when you were saying like, I needed to get on my A game and focus and, make everybody proud and do what I was supposed to do, I figured, cool, I need to rise to the challenge, and I believe that's what I did.
You did, absolutely. And everybody from CNN and at the university was very pleased with what you all did. Now let's bring it forward to 2020. We've got this horrible situation just a few weeks ago as we tape this, when George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis and touched off this global protest that's continuing till this day as we record. What are your thoughts about that first, and then we'll go a little bit deeper?
I think Will Smith coined it best when he said racism isn't getting worse, it's just getting filmed. I mean, we know these things have been happening for over 400 years, and literally thank God for technology, because now people are seeing it all around the world. Like, they're seeing the atrocities that are happening. I mean, it's almost getting to the point where cops killing Black people in America seems like genocide, because they're able to do it with impunity. From like 2013 to 2019, like how many cops were convicted of killing unarmed Black and brown people? The answer was 0, which is crazy. Like, it was none. So, I mean, not almost, but essentially all of them get off, like, with impunity. They get to keep their pensions, they get a desk job, or they get fired, but you've essentially killed somebody who's been paying you to protect and serve them, which I think is ludicrous. That's insane.
From the inauguration trip till today, when you see these type of confrontations in the street, they've calmed down considerably since the beginning of the protest, but it still speaks to the notion we don't know how to deal with the police, how they've been trained versus how we see them. Any thoughts on how we can open a line of dialogue?
I believe they don't know how to deal with us. Since George Floyd's murder, the police have killed at least 100 people. That's since George Floyd was choked to death. They've still killed 100 people. I don't understand why lethal force needs to be a thing. Rashad Brooks from the Wendy's parking lot drive-through incident, the man is running away, but he gets shot twice in the back. What's the point of that? He poses absolutely zero threat. We've seen countless videos at the protest of them shooting tear gas at men, women, and children. We've seen them use rubber bullets in the incorrect way. Rubber bullets are supposed to stop or impede people from coming forward, shooting them at the ground. We've seen cops shooting people just directly in the face. Countless people lost eyes and more from getting shot in the face with a rubber bullet, which is basically just a regular bullet wrapped in rubber. It's nuts. I believe that the onus should not be on citizens, but should be on the cops themselves. Like, they should do a better job dealing with regular people, and they need to learn how to de-escalate confrontation. And if you're scared, like, stay home. No one forced you to be a policeman or a policewoman. If you're afraid for your life, don't do the job.
You know, we're sitting in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and it's not done as we are recording this. And in 2020, people were sheltered for so long. One of the excuses I keep seeing and hearing in the media is that people just had to get out. This was the ideal thing to get out about. And as a result, a lot of the energy built up during sheltering resulted in these confrontations. Would you agree?
Speaking personally, I don't think so.
Tell me why.
Black people,
Tell me why.
we've been fed up for forever. We've had to endure so much, and everybody has the point of no return. You can only poke the bear for so long until the bear claws back. And I believe that that breaking point happened. So whether it was because of the Rona or systemic racism, etc., like, it all came to a head, and boom, here we are. We're tired of being killed on camera, unarmed, for no reason.
Exactly. And I've lived a little bit longer, and I've seen it all my life. You've lived and seen it all your life. Do you really think this moment will continue? I mean, people looking later will go, yes, it did, or no, it didn't. But we don't know. Is this really going to have an effect on the future?
I believe it has to. I give a lot of credit to, I guess people call them Gen Z now, we call them the kids. Like, they've been at the forefront of multiple protests. They've been leading the charge. I mean, they've been doing their part. So I believe that with the current group, the young people, the millennials, and I mean, even you, there's been a lot of OGs that have been speaking, that have been using their platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, to tell stories about then, back in the 60s, all the way until now, and what they lived through and how it's still going on, how the goalposts continue to get moved. I think there will be no letting up.
And given that you cover sports for Sports Illustrated, what are your thoughts about the NFL? During the course of this protest movement after the death of George Floyd, they went from no need for Kaepernick, they didn't like the kneeling, and the president was very clear about that, to now everybody's saying, except the president, we were wrong and they should give Kaepernick a job. That's happening in real time for us. How are you reporting that?
I'm keeping it, you know me, Bob, I give it to you straight. Roger Goodell is a clown. He still hasn't publicly apologized to Colin Kaepernick. Everything that he's done has been lip service. The video that he put out in rebuttal to the players' ask was lip service. If the man's not on the roster, you really don't care. Now, as for Tupe Fiasco, he was asked about kneeling, and he gave that coded answer talking about, yeah, I would love to see Cap in the NFL if he deserves it. Well, one, he didn't answer the question, and two, we're in an election cycle. So you're going to say whatever you can to win because you know you need at least a little bit of the black vote to get another 4 years in office. So the actions need to speak louder than the videos, the tweets, the Facebook posts, the PR stuff. We need Black ownership in sports, being as that football, basketball are over 70% Black. We should have more Black owners. There should be more people in Black leadership positions. So GMs of companies, GMs of sports agencies, CFOs, CEOs, you name it. Like the C-suite needs to have more Black people, more colored people, and be more diverse.
Very good. And in the time remaining, we have one more question. For students who are now still at San Jose State, walking in your footsteps, sitting in your classrooms, listening to people like me, how should they be thinking about having a voice, getting involved, doing something about that in the year 2020?
First and foremost, ask for help. None of us have all the answers, but there are some very intelligent people, some very intelligent organizers, some very intelligent activists. I mean, I first reach out, scour their timeline, see what they're saying, see the direction that they're going, see what petitions you can sign. Also still seeing both sides, which I know sounds crazy, but the other side still has something to say. And you kind of need to use that when you're crafting how you think of things, because what they do still directly impacts what you see. For instance, I talked about qualified immunity and getting that abolished across the country. Qualified immunity being you're not allowed to sue or prosecute police after they kill you or commit whatever atrocity. They get to keep their pensions, which is nuts. So Derek Chauvin, who murdered one of the four that murdered George Floyd, yeah, he's being charged. Yeah, he's going to go to court. Even if he does or doesn't get convicted, his pension is not up for grabs. Like, he's still going to get it. It's over $1 million. Like, that has to go. The governor of Colorado just passed into law that qualified immunity is done. It's gone. They have abolished it. That should be a nationwide decree. Things like that are what the students have to be thinking about in the future, saying what has to change to flip the system on its head, to at least send help to those who haven't gotten it in 400 plus years, which is the Black people.
Now, just to show the world that you've always been very forward thinking, I'm going to share my screen and I want to show you something. When you applied to be a member of the team to go across country, everyone had to write an essay. And here's something that you wrote that I think resonates over time. Let me just move my words out of the way. You said, I believe, this is back in 2009, you wrote, I believe that we have come a very long way, but we still have a ways to go. Women do not always have equal rights as men in the corporate workplace, and homosexuals aren't getting their equal rights. Proven most recently back in 2008 with the passing of Prop 8 that originally banned gay marriage in California. You, sir, are a bit of a prophet in thought. So I would commend you and say, if you could do that back in 2009, we should be able to see today's students and future students start with that sort of thinking. Would you agree?
I wholeheartedly agree.
Very good. Justin, before we wrap up, I want to say thank you. We hope to get everybody together, as you know, from the trip to the inauguration very soon. And I'm looking forward to adding your voice to the group. Hearing you all talk these many years later make Dr. Cheers and I very proud.
I definitely appreciate the opportunity, sir, and I'm looking forward to the energy of the group after all this time. Thank you.